Good evening, everybody. A warm welcome to our Book Lovers Club session 23. Pustak Mimansa Book Lovers Club welcomes you all at Rutuja Foundation. I, Dr. Nehal Shah, is very glad to have you all here, especially in the special episode with respect to menstrual health and Hygiene Day celebration, which has been commemorated all over the world past 10 years. Being a MH Day official partner, United Wash, we do intensive programs during May and June every year. And as in part of this program, we have brought today one particular book which is all about menstrual health hygiene practices, especially in the context of India. As we have our segment related to books, we wanted that this should be a special episode devoted to this particular segment with reference to MH Day 2025 celebration. So, before I invite our guest and the authors of this wonderful book, and we go ahead with the discussion, let me give you a brief introduction about our organization. Taking a very quick note about it. Rutuja Foundation has been established in 2020 with an aim to develop self transformation, and through that, undergoing an external transformation with respect to women, especially focusing on women mental health and well-being. So we do a lot of activities wherein the subtle undertone is to have them transformed from within, go for self connect, make them increase their self dignity, feel their self respect, and that is how help them foster their holistic development in such a way that they can sort out their life and issues on their own. We are three people who have started this organization in 2020, and we are registered under Mumbai Public Trust. We also have a CSR certification, 12A and ATG text exemption. And as I told you, we are an official partner of Menstrual Hygiene Day. We also hold a memorandum with Voice That Care, which is a free mental health helpline running all over India in 7 different languages, 365 days from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Counseling, helpline, which is there to provide psychological first aid by trained volunteers. Now, as I told you, we are devoted to finding out, no, helping people find their own self inner connect, and that is why we are also having a license for peace education program, which is where it teaches through its modules how you can have your self connect and develop your inner peace, which can only lead to external peace. We are also a coalition member to Global Campaign for Peace Education. These are some of our past activities. These are our few segments. We are working with 6 different segments presently. We cater complete menstrual hygiene and health management, starting from menarche till that of post menopause, as well as mental health aspects of women. Some of the activities, glimpses that we have been doing, some media coverages. These are few of our experts, resource persons who have come to the platform to deliver talks or workshops with us. Some of the students, volunteers, interns have worked over here. Rutuja's whatever work we have been doing has also been recognized in short time. Some of the volunteers, we are also very much into research, and we have a research section wherein regularly interns and students, they come and do research related to women's health. These are some of the past research work, few publications that Rutuja holds, few collaborations that we have been doing past 5 years. And if you feel to connect with us, we are available on almost all social media accounts, including LinkedIn. You please are requested to subscribe our YouTube channel and listen to our lot of live sessions which are free of cost to be followed by experts. So friends, this is what Rutuja is all about. And now let me introduce and bring on floor our today's guest. Now, we are very glad and we express heartfelt gratitude towards each of them. Two of the authors, they are directly joining with us from UK, London. So there is a time difference, but they have come all over just to no, inform us that what kind of solutions are needed for menstrual practices in India. A very important key information would be shared today. So please stay with us, and let me call the very first author. Namaskar, welcome, Dr. Smruti Balsari ji. I'll also invite the other two guests for the day. Namaste, Anil sir.
Namaste.
And we also have Dr. Kiran Pandya sir. Namaskar sir.
You are
Yes.
muted, sir.
Namaste, namaste.
Namaste. So, friends, let me give a brief formal introduction related to our authors for the book Public Health and Menstrual Hygiene Practices in India. Practices, Costs, and Equity Issues. This is a recent publication in April 2025. So, wonderful book. You can get the book from Amazon if you are feeling to have a hard copy of the book, and it's also available on Kindle. So let me introduce to the authors. Smruti Balsari ji is a senior research officer at the University of Sussex, where she works on National Institute of Health and Care applied research collaboration and Alzheimer's Society funded research on dementia. She has worked on various research projects which are being funded by ESRC, British Academy, ICSSR, and Government of Gujarat as well. She holds a PhD in economics and has experience working with very large data sets. And I'm glad enough to say that she has also analyzed our data on premenstrual syndrome way back during my PhD. So, always expressing deep gratitude towards that. We also have two more authors. Let me give a formal introduction related to them. Dr. Anil Gumbar sir is a visiting professor in health economics and medical statistics at the Research Center for Healthcare and Communities, Coventry University, UK. He also holds an emeritus senior fellow position at the Faculty of Health and Wellbeing. He holds a PhD in economics, and he was a postdoctoral research scholar at the Harvard School of Public School, Boston. Along with them, we have my teacher who taught me research methodology, and also Smriti ma'am's teacher, come our very beloved sir, Dr. Kiran Pandya sir. He is presently a provost of Sarvajanik University based at Surat. He was also appointed as the member, National Statistical Commission, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. He was a professor and head in the Department of Human Resource Development at Veer Narmad South Gujarat University, Surat, Gujarat, India. He has completed his degree in economics again at University of Sussex, UK, and he was awarded the Academic Staff Scholarship by Commonwealth Commission in UK. So you can see, friends, now we are going to have a very valuable discussion on the economy side and the equity side related to the menstrual health and hygiene products today, as the book is all about how and what this no below economic range people are experiencing with reference to the products coming up in India, their cost, their direct, indirect cost effects related to it. So you can see on the screen, I have displayed the picture of the book. This is the book which can be brought. It is a very important scientific, analyzed mixed complex of different methodologies that they have used it. And further, instead of me, let's talk about the book directly through the mouths of our authors today. So going ahead, dear authors, I would like to understand, and I want you to tell us, our authors today, sorry, our viewers today, that what was the thought that brought you to publish and no make this book? Because writing a book is itself is a big challenge, especially when your topic is so grave, when it is talking about a very key component which is usually neglected in developing nations like India. So, how this thought developed and eventually got executed in the form of a book? Please go ahead.
Thank you, Nehal, for the very generous introduction. A small correction that I'm from University of Essex and not Sussex. Professor Pandya is from University of Sussex. And
Okay.
regarding the first question, regarding the first, it's a question. Regarding the question about how the thought about writing a book came to us, I would let Dr. Pandya, Professor Pandya, answer this question.
Yeah, Pandya sir. Sir, you are mute. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very difficult question to answer. But then, see, I work in academic institutions, and I saw over a period of time while doing a project, a research project in rural area, that especially rural women face a lot of problems related to menstrual hygiene. Where we prepare a district human development report for Tapi and Surat districts. So we carried out a lot of field work, and we in fact hold many group discussions also. So during our interactions, we found that this is very serious issue, and often people don't talk about this issue. So
Yeah.
therefore, we put a proposal to the ICSSR regarding this topic, and ICSSR was very generous to sanction a project on menstrual hygiene. And in fact, the whole proposal was prepared by Dr. Smriti Bansari. But incidentally, what happened when we got a call from ICSSR, she was in UK. So then finally, I myself went because before going there, I was not very much aware of the issue. I know about the importance of the problem, but I hadn't studied about menstrual hygiene. So before going to ICSSR, I in fact studied a lot about menstrual hygiene and then made a proposal, a presentation to the ICSSR.
Thank you,
So
sir,
this
for
is the history.
yeah, thank you for letting us know the interesting story behind this whole development, no, which is now present in front of the public. Because this kind of scientific studies are very important for policy making and for understanding, no. For those people who are actually working in menstrual health management at a very no important roles. So coming to the next question, I would no I want to know that how, like, what is the content basically about this book, what all you have covered, and what are the different aspects which one would find it when they are going to buy or want to read this book, what are the topics that have been covered, and how it has been designed?
Yeah, so the whole presentation is about that. So I would like to go ahead with the presentation. Thank you for giving me the platform on this. And of course, Professor Pandya, you answered her first question so much in detail that I'm so happy to skip that portion from our slides. Uh, so yeah, before moving on, this is a formality and important formality to be done that yes, it is because of ICSSR that we were able to. So thank you ICSSR from the bottom of our heart. And I'm sure all the menstruators and all the women, irrespective of whether they menstruate or not, all the menstruators, whether they are women or not, would be thanking you, ICSSR. So conceptualization of this research has already been discussed by Professor Pandya, so I will not go into the details of that. But I'll straight away come to the objectives of the study and then the approach to undertaking this research and broad outcomes, which are basically a part of this book. And what we are going to discuss today and what we are not going to discuss today, that also I'll be mentioning. So, coming to conceptualization. So conceptualization, he already discussed, but then what happened in 2022 is that menstruation is to be given, WHO directed that menstruation should be given the status of a health and not just hygiene. So it's the spectrum of menstruation was broadened to be considered to be a health issue and not just a hygiene issue. WHO also directed providing education and information to menstruators about menstruation and ensuring the activities surrounding menstrual education and information be included in relevant work plans, budgets, and also that their performance be monitored. WHO is quite keen on, work plans and performance monitoring. So currently I'm working in the area of dementia. There also they have the same directive that you have to have the work plans and budgets and performance measurement. So WHO has given importance to menstrual health as much as any other health issue, which is what changed not because of our project, but after we started working on it and almost after we completed it. In fact, even before our findings were published. So this is what changed over time. We concluded our project in 2021. We submitted the report to ICSSR in 2021, and we had some publications that came up, some in 2020, 2021, and 2022, and recently one publication has come up. What changed from 2017 to 2021 and later? So total sanitation program. In 2019, India was declared open defecation free. Now, open defecation free was not only important from, environmental point of view, but also from not only from hygiene point of view, environmental point of view, but also very important aspect of women's health. Because imagine a woman who is menstruating and doesn't have adequate toilet facilities to use. In 2018, this Padman movie came, and that played a pivotal role. It's a bit strange that I hardly know anyone who might have watched this movie, Padman, but it was really surprising, and I'm really happy to learn that it made some $14 million at the box office in India itself and 15 million around across the world. But that did change the perspective of people, and it gave a very clear message that men are also concerned with menstruation. It's not only a women's problem. And I'm happy to share with everyone that on the project we had 3 men working, and the 4th man joined at the time of writing the book. So we have 4 men working on this project and 2 women. So more power to men. Yeah. So then menstrual cups started picking up. I mean, menstrual cups, when we started the project in 2017, even I hadn't heard about menstrual cups. The only thing that was an alternative to a disposable sanitary napkins was the tampon. Or, if we go traditionally, then it is an old cloth torn from saris. So these were the only alternatives. And I wouldn't say that old cloth torn from saris is an unhygienic method of soaking blood, because it depends on how you clean, how you wash, and how you dry that cloth. And even using a sanitary napkin or a tampon, it can cause health issues if it is not changed at the right intervals and if it is not used in the right manner. So, irrespective of whatever is the product, hygiene is something different. Hygiene is a completely different matter. But then menstrual cups started coming in. And I had a very, sir, you were there, Professor Pandya, you were there when we met a couple of doctors and gynecologists when they were literally trying to say that this is the product, everyone should be using it. And okay, that's fine. Advocate menstrual cup, fine enough. But we want to know something more. It's not just menstrual cup. We want to know about all the products. We want to know about the hygiene aspects. We want to know about the health aspects. You
Yes,
know,
yes,
then the concept of period underwear. When we were, I think we already completed the study. In UK, period underwear was there earlier as well, but I knew about it. I mean, in 2017, because I was in UK in 2017 and period underwear concept had started to emerge here, as well as I vaguely came to know about it when I was in India back 2018 onwards. Period underwear, so this wasn't a concept and therefore it is not a part of our research. COVID-19 changed the primary mode of communication, making the world smaller and an accessible place. This reduced the information asymmetry. So more and more people came to know more and more about the products. Because until 2019, nobody thought of Zoom, nobody thought of Teams. We would
yes,
not have thought of having this conversation today. It's all, I mean, things that changed during COVID-19 that. So these are the things that emerged from 2017, from the time we wrote the proposal. 2018, we got the funding, and 2018 to 2021, we did the research. So these things changed. Now I come to the objectives of the study. So what is contained in the book? So we discussed about the extent of awareness, beliefs, and taboos associated with menstruation. And then we also do a socio-economic and demographic, comparison of how the awareness, beliefs, and taboos are different across different groups. We also try to elicit patterns in menstrual hygiene practices among women. We also try to kind of understand and discuss the problems faced by women because of lack of menstrual hygiene. So either they don't know how to use the sanitary napkins, or
yeah,
they do not know how to appropriately clean the clothes from old saris, and as a result of that they get infections and other issues. So that is what objective 3 is about. And the most important objective is about estimating the explicit and implicit. Sorry about these technical terms, but just forget it. We are talking about the costs.
yeah,
Costs of menstruation and menstrual hygiene. So that is what we are focusing upon. So even if you don't want to bother about what is implicit, what is explicit, I will be discussing all these things in detail in later slides. How did we approach this study? That is what we have discussed in the first chapter of our book, that we began our study by first having discussion with gynecologists and doctors who are specialized in women's health. This we did for developing our questionnaire. So we had detailed interviews with doctors, we had detailed interviews with gynecologists, and tried to identify what problems they are kind of encountering when women come to them with menstrual health related problems, and whether they are able to talk openly with those doctors or not, what inhibitions do they have, what kind of products do they use, what kind of infections are common, and so on and so forth. So we had a very detailed kind of discussion with these doctors, and that was incorporated in our questionnaire design. We also took the inputs from the PPI group. So basically PPI stands for patient and public involvement. So here there is no one I would call it patient, because it is something that all women or all transgender men experience. So it is just as it, it's a state that people experience each month, and it is just a condition. It's not a disease or anything. So it's not about patient. It's not. But yeah, we involved all the women who did not have any problems with periods. We involved women who had problems with periods. We involved women who had problems with using products and so on. And their suggestions we incorporated. I mean, including the premenstrual syndromes and the pains and other issues that they face during menstruation. And you yourself might have seen, I mean, when I say you, I mean us, ourselves have seen people experiencing different kind of. So I was in teaching profession, and invariably I had seen, every second, third month, some student would come to me and ask me some questions about their issues. And so you have seen so many things about uh, the menstrual health
Yeah.
related matters. So getting involving those people was basically the intention of the PPI group, to get inputs from them about, what all issues they experience during menstruation as well as prior to menstruation, and the products that they are aware about, and what products should we include when we, give a tick mark choice in the
Hmm.
questionnaire. So all this was done in Gujarati, because our target audience, our target participants, target population was from Gujarat. So we did all this in Gujarati, and then we translated the questionnaire to English because it was to be presented to ICSSR nominated experts. And then they gave their suggestions, and coincidentally, both of them were women. So they had enough of suggestions to give. And we incorporated those suggestions, and then we pilot tested the questionnaire. After pilot testing, we further made minor edits to it. And before triangulating, we finalized the questionnaire. We wanted to administer the questionnaire, and this happened.
My God, this was the next challenge you came across.
Yeah, so everything was done. We were ready to administer the questionnaires, and lockdown was imposed. So for the first month, we did not do anything because we waited that, okay, lockdown would be lifted. But then we realized that this is going to be a
Long.
longer problem. So we developed Google Forms, both the Gujarati and English versions. And then we circulated through WhatsApp. So first of all, we circulated in our respective groups whom uh, we knew that they fitted into the sampling frame of our study. So Nehalben had told me that not to use the technical word. So sampling frame are, we were looking into those women who were from 14 to 49 years of age and were menstruators.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we ensured that the woman is in 14 to 49 years age, she's getting regular periods, and then we forwarded the Google form link to them. And then we told them that if you know someone who is in this age group, who is a menstruator, forward it to them, and then ask them to forward it further. We did it up to 3 levels of references. Uh, the response rate was very low. Not everybody responded. The response quality was very poor because we pilot tested on actual questionnaires. We pilot tested the physical questionnaires, and it was, one person asking the question and the respondent responding the
Makes
question.
difference. Yeah.
So there was a scope of explanation. Here, there was no scope of explanation. But then we had amazing experience that some people called up saying that, what does this question mean? So that was one end of the experience we had. And the other end of the experience was they just wrote whatever they wanted to write. So later on, when lockdown was slightly relaxed, we distributed physical copies of questionnaires, and we got good responses from them. But then we also employed field investigators because this was supposed to be a Gujarat-wide study.
Yeah.
And we had decided that we would go for two developing districts, two developed districts, and Surat district because that was our base district. So we didn't want to leave it. So typically three developed districts and two developing districts, and then rural areas and urban areas. So then employed field investigators. We employed around 12 field investigators and asked them to look into their local areas. We told them not to travel because it was still not safe to travel, and wherever possible, do it telephonically. So we adopted all those, these were the adaptations, and few face-to-face surveys were also undertaken after complete relaxation of the lockdown.
Okay. So, like, how much you collected, because it's a huge set of data, and yeah. So,
We got 150 responses, but 25
okay.
we had to remove it because some responses came from Mumbai. Some responses came from women who were 50 plus. And, it wasn't fitting really in our sampling frame. So we had to remove some were duplicate responses. So despite that we received 1,050 responses, we still had 1,025 really clean responses that were used for analysis.
Analysis. And
So,
this was spread throughout Gujarat.
yeah, around 19 districts.
Oh, it's a huge scale.
Yeah. And then this was triangulated with the responses. This were triangulated with the responses with in-depth interviews and focus group discussions. And then we also did some interviews with the NGOs. Our broad outcomes, which everyone would like to know, and which also constitutes a big part of our book, is that awareness, beliefs, and taboos associated with menstruation. Most of the girls received information and guidance about menarche and initial menstrual cycles because, it's not important for a girl 12 to 14 years old. These days, menarche age has reduced.
Yes.
When we were young, it was around 13, 14 years. Now, even 11-year or sometimes even
9 to 10.
9-year girls, they
Yeah.
experience menarche. So, of course, they were not a part of our sample, but then we asked that who guided you toward through the menarche, and it's also important that initial few menstrual cycles you need guidance. It's not just that you start menstruating and you know everything about it. No, you need guidance, and so most of our respondents said that they were guided by their mothers. So at least mothers they could talk with.
Yeah.
We also asked about whether they knew about any of the physical changes and hormonal changes that happen around menarche. So you get some kind of signaling that okay, now there is time. It's the time has come up that anytime I would start getting periods. So most of the women were already aware what happens around menarche, and of course, but there was low awareness about medical conditions. So sometimes it might happen that a girl gets her period and then then they realize that she has an underlying medical condition. She might have endometriosis, or she may have uh, even epileptic seizures could be diagnosed at the time of menarche. So people did not know about this medical conditions being you know present at menarche, and it could be kind of identified at the time of menarche. Awareness about the source of menstrual blood, this is really really I mean uh, use the word shocking, but it was painful to know that girls did not know where the blood came out from.
But this is the fact even today. If I come across women who confess even after two pregnancies that when we tell them about their body organs, they that time they realized how and what their body is made up of. So it's a sad part.
Yeah, it's a sad part. Yeah,
There are
Yeah,
women who really don't know what actually their body holds.
exactly. So that was a bit painful to know that the awareness about the source of menstrual blood, where the blood came out from, they were not aware. And the awareness was even lower among the girls or women living in rural areas, developing and tribal districts. I'm sorry, did I say two developing and two developed districts? No, we
Yeah,
had
yeah.
two tribal districts. We had two developing districts and Surat.
Okay.
Okay, then, okay, okay, sorry. Most
Yeah.
women do not hold beliefs surrounding menstruation, like menstruation is bad or menstruation is a disease, or there are the beliefs are really low, uh, but they continue practicing the taboos, and the highest number of women who said the highest practiced taboo, the most practiced taboo is around going to temples
Hmm.
or doing prayers or doing, performing religious rituals.
Okay.
So these taboos came out as the major factors, major taboos. There were other taboos. I mean, people still believe that they can't go to kitchen, they can't eat a particular type of food, and they still sleep on a separate bed. They live in seclusion. All these things, all these taboos are still practiced, but they are not as much as the religious taboos that you see.
Okay.
Um, Awareness is lower among non-working women, and women also seem to hold stronger beliefs around menstruation and menstrual cycles. Awareness, I mean, higher level of education results in increased awareness. Beliefs
Awareness.
are
Yeah.
milder and lesser taboos are practiced by women. Now we come to the main part of our study, which is the cost. And we try to identify the cost to women.
Okay.
And it could perhaps be because of this cost aspect. I'll come to it in one of our in-depth interviews we came across. That it is one of the aspects is the cost. And it's because of the cost. Not everybody can afford these products, right?
Yeah.
So if you go to lower socioeconomic strata, women do not really are able to afford these products. And when you have limited pot of money, it is very natural that women are culturally trained to think about other family members and their needs rather than their own needs. Even if it is, sacrificing their own health and hygiene as against normal expenses for other family members. So that was the main motivation behind identifying the costs and developing policy recommendations that how these practices can be improved
Okay.
or how these practices could be ensured to be more hygienic. So I'm not going into the discussion of what are the direct costs and indirect costs and implicit costs, and no, we are not going into all these technical matters. But I would just say that when you talk about the cost of absorbents, it's sorry, the cost of menstrual hygiene. It's not just the cost of absorbents, but you need to clean the private parts even more diligently than you do it in normal days.
Yeah.
You have to ensure that you clean your hands with proper soap and water as compared to what you do in normal days. So it's not only the cost of absorbent, but it is the cost of disinfectants, it is the cost of the soap and everything. And these small things do matter when it comes to lower socioeconomic strata.
Yes.
I would talk to you about one of the NGOs that told me that girls could not afford buying soaps. So when they developed their menstrual health kit or menstrual hygiene kit, they also put a small, bar
So
of
to
soap.
it.
That
Yeah.
is enough for 6 days of use. And culturally, we even have this, belief that after the fourth day or fifth day, you have to wash your hair. So that NGO also included a pouch of shampoo in their menstrual health kit. So we have come across really interesting stories as well, but a lot needs to be done for the lower socioeconomic strata, and hence this entire cost thing that we focused on. So if we see, I mean, there is no cost associated with using a cloth from a torn sari. But if you are using disposable sanitary napkins or tampons, which are both disposable products, so we combined it, and they are also, cost comparable. So we combined the estimation of costs for disposable sanitary napkins and tampons. So this is the average annual costs for using disposable sanitary napkins and tampons, plus allied products of menstrual hygiene management, which is soap, disinfectant, etc. So this is completely data driven, completely driven from the data that
You got it. Yeah.
we collected. Yeah. And if you see the total cost of menstrual hygiene management just for disposable sanitary napkins, this disinfectant and soap works out to 1,461 rupees and 80 paisa for the
Yeah.
entire year. For menstrual cup, this is almost one third. Almost one third. But then we have these cultural taboos of using menstrual cups. And I'm neither advocating disposable sanitary napkins, nor am I advocating tampons, nor am I advocating menstrual cups. I'm just advocating hygiene. But this just gives you an overall idea about how much it costs. And then of course we have not talked about the environmental cost, because disposal also
Yes.
involves environmental issues. Now, coming to usage patterns, we had, before I mention about 1/4 of our study respondents were found to change the brand of the product and the product itself. So either they moved from old sari cloth to, the majority shift was from using a cloth from old sari to disposable sanitary napkins. But we found people who moved from disposable sanitary napkins to menstrual cups, disposable sanitary napkins to tampons, from tampons to menstrual cups, and so on. We had all sorts of combinations where there were change in products. But let me tell you, despite all these changes, majority of the respondents still use disposable sanitary napkins.
Okay.
And the primary reason for change in brand were cited as improved quality and increased comfort.
Good.
And the primary reason for change in products were improved hygiene and increased comfort. So comfort was the main
Aspects.
consideration. Yeah,
Obviously, because there is shortage of water, they might be working. It has to be. There are so many things that ensures that they feel comfortable with the product.
absolutely, absolutely. And women, most of the women were found to use more than one product during their menstrual cycle, because there were always, the fears of leak,
Yes,
which normally doesn't happen. But still there is a fear, and therefore they use the extra layer of precaution for
the
ensuring
coverage.
that there are no leaks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are the usage patterns largely. The indirect cost component that we mentioned in that entire chart was about the cost associated with treating premenstrual syndromes like depression, irritability, sleep disturbances, muscle fatigue, muscle weakness, sometimes mild fever as well.
Yeah.
And these are experienced by women somewhere between 2 to 7 days before the menstrual cycle begins, and it may extend until the second and third day of the menstrual cycle. The total burden of PMS and menstrual related illnesses can go up to maximum of unbelievable 68,750 rupees per year. Because
Thank
there
you.
have
Thank you for bringing this to the notice to people, because India still keeps PMS, PMDD highly unnoticed. It's all under the blanket. They don't want to talk about this more, and that is a sad part. Otherwise, there is so much of costing to remove these symptoms.
even managing the symptoms, if not removal, if not completely doing away with the symptoms, at least managing the symptoms, managing um the pain. A simple symptom is stomachache,
Yes.
which people call it stomachache, but actually they are menstrual cramps. So, what medicine needs to be taken for menstrual cramps? Is a simple paracetamol fine enough? Or you need something more than a paracetamol? And in most cases, people go for simple painkillers, normal painkillers, which is not really,
Good
uh,
for their health.
effective for menstrual cramps. But then we came across certain cases where there were even hospitalizations.
Yeah. Even
Yeah,
girls
and
they get faint during such cases. There are cases where they really faint down. They need to be given.
I did mention about my students. So during my tenure of 16 years in Indian academia, there were 3 or 4 instances where I was teaching and one of the students would faint. Yeah, so absolutely. And once I even had to rush one of the students to a hospital.
Yeah.
So these things need to be discussed, and this involves costs. So it involves consultation with doctors, medicines, and this could be multiple spells in a year. Just doesn't end that, okay, this was a one-time thing. To share some quotes from the in-depth interviews, which we had converted into a third-person language in our book, but here I'm just quoting them in the first person as it is. So one of our respondents said that every month I used to have really painful stomachache. She still didn't use the word menstrual cramps. She didn't know menstrual cramps. So I used to have really painful stomachache. My mother would tell me to go to the nearest primary health center and get a pain reliever injection. Imagine the extent of pain she must be having that she had to take a pain reliever injection. Neither the doctor asked the reason for my asking for a pain reliever injection, nor did my mother guide me to discuss this with the doctor because the doctor was a male, which I have not mentioned over here. It had come up in the interview, but because the doctor was a male. This went on for years, and gradually my pain eased up after the childbirth. Another quote, this also gives a lot of insights into the indirect cost component. I use clothes from old saris for a very long time. I hail from a small town and I hardly had any exposure to alternative menstruation products. After I moved to a bigger city and having access to television, I learned about the disposable sanitary napkins. On recommendation of my friends in the new urban surroundings, I ventured to buy and started to use sanitary napkins. However, with the prolonged use, I started developing rashes. Initially, I could not make out that the rashes are due to the use of disposable sanitary napkins. I would apply soframycin ointment and in few days I would start feeling better. However, once I realized that the itching has continued, it is deep down then superficial. Applying soframycin was not possible. Hesitantly, I went to the doctor only to learn that the material of disposable sanitary napkin was too harsh on my skin. I continued to change products, but being a working woman and requiring staying out of home for at least 8 hours a day, I switched back to sanitary napkins. I now need to take medicines every month after menstrual cycles to get the infection treated. And here she quotes medicines, but actually she's taking antibiotics every month. So imagine the other impact that she might be having on her health to consume antibiotics each month. The cost of absenteeism. This is something that most of us miss. PMS cost is still a cost that we can see, but the cost of absenteeism is something that we cannot see, and in economics we call it the opportunity cost. So if the woman is getting the paid leaves, and sorry for using the term women because our respondents are all women, but menstruators need not only be women.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in case of paid leaves, this opportunity cost is borne by the employer because the woman is still paid on that particular day, but she doesn't work. So that is the productivity loss that uh, we consider in economics as opportunity cost. In case of unpaid leaves, this is borne by the employee because the day she doesn't turn up to the work, she doesn't get the wages. And the impact of opportunity cost of absenteeism in school and college going girls have a long term impact because it affects their career choices, it affects what they would do, what would they would take up as a profession in future, whether they would work or they would not work in future, whether they would continue their studies or discontinue their studies. All this is dependent on their performance in the schools and colleges, and that is influenced by absenteeism again. Why women stay absent? It's not because that they are, uh, it's not because that they experience pain. Somehow women in India are trained to,
Tolerate.
endure. Yeah. So pain did not come out as a big factor for absenteeism, but there were a lot of other factors why women don't go to school or colleges. Or so there are some experiences that were shared by NGOs, and I would like to share that. We started distributing sanitary napkins to some city primary schools. We thought that we are doing good work, but later realized that the girls weren't using the sanitary napkins. We tracked down the root cause of the problem, which was very difficult to do, but we finally found out the reason. We worked on overcoming those constraints, and we saw that the girls have started using the sanitary napkins. So there are other reasons which we can't even imagine why girls don't use sanitary napkins even if distributed for free. Don't ask me the reason. Won't be able to share it publicly.
Oh,
But
okay.
it is there in the book. So
Okay.
yeah.
So in
Uh,
my notice, I have come across experiences where they because they get limited access to sanitary napkins, as maybe they are donated or gifted by somebody. So many a times they wash that and then they reuse it. So that is something even more
Even harmful, yeah,
unhygienic.
even unhygienic.
Like somebody is washing sanitary napkins and then drying them up and then reusing in the next cycle, leading to I don't know what kind of infection for their bodies.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't come across such cases in our research, but yeah, it's really painful to hear all this. Okay, so then adolescent girls who are the beneficiaries of our organization make use of disposable sanitary napkins. We were overjoyed to see a multiplier effect as they narrated their experiences with their mothers and their mothers' experiences with other women. Some of them switched over to using the disposable sanitary napkins despite that they had to pay for it. So there are some government schemes wherein there are, subsidized, or in some districts it's even for free, that disposable sanitary napkins are given through this ASHA workers. Uh, but then these girls, when they use the sanitary napkins and they kind of shared their experiences with their mothers, for the first 2 or 3 days, the mothers started buying the sanitary napkins. And this is what we would like the policymakers to take into consideration, that It's not only a hygiene matter for adolescent girls. It is a hygiene matter for the entire set of menstruators.
Yes.
Right. Okay, this one was about, we are into this work of distributing disposable sanitary napkins for free or at a very subsidized rate to women of lower socioeconomic strata. We realized that women have difficulties disposing those used sanitary napkins, and this was more pronounced in rural areas. And there are some, beliefs associated with disposal of sanitary napkins in certain socioeconomic group. So they realized that the women had difficulties in disposing those sanitary napkins, which also restricted their use. So our team developed an earthenware incinerator, which disposes the napkins in the best environmentally friendly manner. The earthenware used to dispose of the sanitary napkin itself is environment friendly and can be disposed. So
Okay.
this was a very nice initiative by one of the NGOs. And what I have not discussed today, and what the book still offers, is the background of the state of menstrual health in the country. The rationale for undertaking the study, though a part of it was already explained by Professor Pandya, but a more detailed discussion on that, a detailed methodological approach than what I already mentioned in my talk, different dimensions of awareness about the situation, and respondents' awareness of each of the awareness about each of these dimensions. Um, Patterns in beliefs, taboos, and the percentage of respondents that observe them, and a detailed statistical analysis of socioeconomic factors with awareness, beliefs, taboos, and usage patterns. We also discussed the patterns in premenstrual syndrome, symptoms experienced during menstruation, the patterns in products which from and to. We also provide the formula for estimation of costs, different components of cost for cost of menstrual health. And then there is a whole set of recommendations for the policymakers and a lot of references of related journal articles. So this is what the book offers over and above what we discussed today. The book can be
Wonderful.
available. You already mentioned this, so I'm not repeating it.
Yeah. Ma'am, can you just go back to the last slide?
This
Yeah,
one?
so I think this because it has lot of things to offer to different stakeholders in menstrual health management. Like there are people who are concerned with the mental health and periods. There are people who are only working into product management, product designing. There are people who are, because they are also into startups related to sustainable, eco-friendly products. For them, it's very essential to find out how to estimate the component cost for menstrual health for their product when that is being utilized. So I think it's a ready reckoner for many of these people, and definitely for policymakers. We just had a day before a talk related to how menstrual health and hygiene policy has been designed by one of the persons of Maitri Sudha. He's trying to bring that into highlight that there should be a common menstrual health and hygiene policy by the government of India. And he has already designed that 80 pages. So people like them, they need some recent research, no, coming from Indian no context, which will help them reframe the whole of the thing. And I'm sure a lot to offer in terms of social science research as well as health science research from this particular book. A wonderful time to have you here talk about so many different aspects that the book is been covering about. And I'll give you a rest for a while because I want to hear from the other two author how was their experience talking about periods, because being a woman we usually relate easily and no talk about this, but as in men, what was their perception towards this writing of this particular book, and when they'll hear about the taboos and stigmas that the field investigators are bringing to their floor, what was their reaction, how they have imbibed this particular study. So Anil sir and Pandya sir, I put this question to you. As in men, How do you see this menstrual health management, and what are your opinions and thoughts related to these?
Uh, Kiran is right now off screen. Okay, I can mention it.
Yeah, please,
Why
please, sir,
I
go ahead.
how I got associated with this writing book, and particularly when during the childhood, and she's rightly said that mothers and my older sisters are using the old saris and old clothes, and it was quite unhygienic because we were working in a town. Even at that time the products were not available, and when Smriti approached me that how as a health economist I can contribute in this book, so it was a very fascinating experience. And and basically I wanted to give credit to all Smriti for doing the work, and also to Kiran Pandya. My role was basically they have made all the statue, everything. I just put little bit of coloring here and there to make it more beautiful like that. Some doing some methodological contribution, but overall I associated rightly, just to tell Smriti that I have paid in pound to see the Padman movie because I was very much fascinated with that one. And it was a biopic movie of Padam Shri, the person who got Padam Shri, Mr. I think Muruganthra from Tamil Nadu area, and he was called as the menstruation man. So a lot of inspiration was there, but again the issue still remains that
Yes.
urban area we could able to generate some demand for the menstruational product, but rural area still the situation is not very great. And at the back of envelope, with the help of Kiran and Smriti, I try to make estimates what is the cost of the menstrual product at the Gujarat level. I estimated about 20 million women are there from the age group 14 to 49, the reproductive age group or menstruation period. And if you try to estimate the cost of the products, menstrual products, and then cleaning of private parts, and then cleaning of hands and soaps, those. So overall, it comes to at the Gujarat level about 2,700 crores. And this is at a very, very lower level because the demand is there. And particularly this up to 2,700 crore, two-thirds is coming from the urban area and one
Hmm.
third is coming from the rural area. It's other way around. In terms of the population, it's other way around. The weightage is much much higher of population from the rural area, and book also rightly say that how we can provide the affordable menstruational products, and in that movie also, and after that also movie, that lot of advertisement still I'm seeing of Akshay Kumar that yeah, why you are smoking cigarette, you are spending
Yes.
10 rupees on cigarette. This is just 3 rupees pad. Why don't you save have so this advertisement we are seeing continuously, and it's a very well communicated, and I think the demand for those products will rise in the future. And I fully understand that the government has not contributed much, as we are already arguing about that in terms of those who are working women, whether they can get a paid leave or not, and also the cost of products. Even only in the, you can say, this year, the GST has been removed from the menstruational products. Whereas
Yes.
in the UK, this was already from I don't know, from 40 years, 50 years, there was no VAT or what we call the value added tax. Okay, there was no tax, but still GST they are collecting on the final product, but they have not removed the GST from their raw materials. So all the cotton and other products, so they're making this is still very costly affair, particular rural areas. So I'm very much hopeful that through ASHA workers or through if the government or can intervene and can provide a very low cost or even free of cost these type of products, and that will be very well done. Instead of in all election campaign, one should
Hmm.
not give 100 rupees. Better all the women should be given basically the menstruation free product basically
Yes.
at the time of election, at least ensure they can ensure at least couple of months of supply to them so they can realize and they can start using it. So this is the idea. I'm thankful for the.
That's a very nice suggestion. Indeed.
No, it's so good to hear to you, sir. And I was about to ask this question, that how you think and what is your opinion related to tax-free products, because that's going on. This debate is going on worldwide, that menstrual products are health-related products. They are not cosmetic products, and we should free them from the tax. In many countries like India, they are still having heavy taxation on menstrual products, which is really finding very difficult for especially the developing countries. There the poverty line is very huge, and people are not able to access the menstrual products. It's really tough for them to have a no heavy burden related to this. But you already answered that we need to really cut down this GST and all those things onto it. So moving on to Pandya sir, what is your perception towards menstrual health and hygiene during the process of this whole book, and the data that you have seen and gone through, so many taboos and so much of information shared by different kind of versions that are coming from the field. Sir, please. He's still muted. So you're muted. We are not able to see you.
Maybe some technical hitch. Well,
Okay, maybe we can wait till he is back onto it. So we are about to close the session on this particular note, but still I have one or two questions to inquire if that can help the future researchers. So I'm sure this is not the one book you're going to stop at, and your research would continue. But there might be other researchers in the health sector, maybe people working with economic aspect and costing. So how would you suggest, and what kind of work is still needed to be done at research level? What should be explored more for research? Who would like to answer? Smruti ma'am or Anil sir, would you like to answer?
Hello, sorry, my
Um,
mic was off, so you couldn't listen to me.
Yeah, please sir, please continue.
Hello. See, Dr. Nehal, thank you for asking me questions. See, as a man, I was a typical man. So, till this, we thought of doing research on menstrual hygiene. I didn't know anything about this issue. But as a researcher, I'm a typical researcher. So, I thought of going into the root of the issue. I studied everything in detail. So, all background work related to field work, arranging focus group discussion, arranging meetings with the gynecologist and everything. That was mainly done by me. Moreover, we discussed with many experts and we prepared a detailed questionnaire to probe this issue. See, as a researcher and as a normal human being, we require to be very sensitive. So, as I mentioned earlier, when we were visiting rural areas, especially tribal areas, and I also lived in village, so I know what kind of huts they have. Now, just imagine a family living in a one-room hut, where the woman will change the these clothes. How she will use any product, even if she has a sanitary napkin or whatever product you use, where she will use, how she will use, where she will change. Some very difficult things. So, as Dr. Smriti also discussed about open defecation and that's not only defecation problem, but where they will take bath. They don't have washrooms. So we saw these issues and realized that how these people are living their lives. So therefore, we thought of probing this issue. And then we were joined by Dr. Anil. He's an expert in health economics. We did very enormous work, but that was during a corona, so we did not exploit the kind of data and the information we had at our disposal. So whatever was required for submission of the project for ICSSR, we completed the project. But later on, Dr. Smriti thought of developing this project into a book. So more or less, as Dr. Anil said, it is more of a work of a Dr. Smriti Balsari. In project, yes, I did lot of work, but as far as writing the book is concerned, I think it's mainly a work of Dr. Smriti Balsari, and some cosmetic work is, it is not cosmetic, but important work is done by Dr. Anil Gumbar also. So together we have come out with this book. I think it's very useful contribution.
Thank you so much, sir, for your share.
Dr. Smriti would like to add something?
Uh, Nothing, but I had been lucky that
Yeah, I think you can continue now.
Okay, I think the echo was coming from Kiran's. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I have been lucky that while I worked on the proposal and then I came to UK and I thought that this is all gone. But then Professor Pandya actually took the initiative and he did all the, base work. So when I went back to India from UK, it was kind of, somebody serving me a ready-made plate. So yeah, I'm that fortunate. And
So
yeah,
we also
writing.
got two questions in the chat box coming from the listeners. So there is a question: can you throw some light on weather, the impact on of weather? Have you come across something related to that during your study?
You mean climate change?
Yeah, yeah.
No, we did not explore that, and no, even accidentally we did not come across.
Okay, and there is one more question: adoption of menstrual cups among educated urban women, despite the fact that they know that it is more and less costly. Does your study deal with that kind of question?
Sorry, can you repeat the second
Yeah.
half of?
Adoption of menstrual cups among educated urban women, despite the fact that they know that this is more and less costly. Does your study deal with that kind of question?
So we have not asked women why they, I mean, whether they use menstrual cup because of whether they use or don't use the menstrual cup because of its cost. No, we haven't asked that, but we know that culturally, any product like tampon or menstrual cup will not be really very easily accepted among women who are young and not married. So that part had come out from our study, but somebody not buying because of cost, no.
Okay, okay. So
Because of lack of awareness, yes. Because of cultural reasons, yes, but not because of cost.
Just
okay,
addressing the previous question about
yeah,
the temperature,
research.
I think the hot climate, whether I think they might mean that during the hot climate, whether women can use those menstruation product because it has got a lot of plastic in it instead of a sari cloth. Sari cloth is more traditional, but it is best if you are talking about hot summer. But I don't know though. I don't have experience, but at least the woman can basically highlight whether what is the difficulty if you are having a 45-degree or 50-degree temperature, whether you are able to use those type of products or not, or whether there is another effect to it. Cup may be a useful substance, but other average level of menstruation products can be used in a hot climate or not. Yeah.
And
Okay.
that's a good point, Dr. Gumbar. That's a really good point. And no, we did not explore that. The climate and we haven't explored that. But being a woman and being exposed to a large number of menstrual products, uh, again, being a woman and being a team member of this research, principal investigator, of course, is Professor Pandya, but being a co-coordinator of the research. We did a lot of exploration into the different kinds of menstrual products available and the different kinds of sanitary napkins that are available.
Okay.
So yeah, there are sanitary napkins which are purely cotton based, but it doesn't have a long you
Lasting.
know yeah, you cannot use it for longer hours because it doesn't have high absorbing capacity, and
Hmm.
the high absorbing capacity sanitary napkins will have all the sorts of plastics and
Chemicals. A lot of
yeah,
chemicals.
a
Yeah.
lot of chemicals in it. So there are varieties of sanitary napkins available. Plus, when we were doing the studies, uh, there were reusable sanitary napkins also made available, which is a kind of modernized version of the
Yeah.
old sari cloth. But we did not find a lot of people using that.
Yeah. Okay. So, coming to the last question that I had put up related to the research. So, any plans for the team to take further research, and would you suggest some more gaps which you feel that they need to be addressed in the form of research?
Uh, Professor Pandya, I would like you to answer the first half of the question whether we would like to go ahead with more research on this. Liking is always a yes answer. And the second half, I would like to answer.
See, there are no static things. Things change. So, so we need to probe the changing situations. Maybe longitudinal study may be more helpful. We have done cross-section analysis, but the longitudinal analysis may be more useful. So by changing methodology, probably topic may be the same, but by changing research methodology, probably we may be able to probe some more questions.
I don't know,
Thank you.
Dr. Yeah,
Yeah, please.
I've been using the National Sample Survey data for consumer expenditure, also on healthcare products and other things. But unfortunately, we don't talk about the use of menstrual product, how much the household is spending on that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
hygienic products are definitely soaps and other things are asked, but particularly the specific aspect. I think the Kiran would agree. He also knows the National Sample Survey consumer experience data very well, so maybe it's a good idea to introduce this one so that one can see the not only the veracity in rural and urban area, but even different socio-economic status people also how much they are, how they respond, and also they compute those one. And in the book also we have mentioned certain examples that that married woman, definitely the husband also goes with her to buy the products because they don't have the money in their hand. But those who are working women, as well as those who have got a money in hand, they might be buying of their own itself. But those who are completely dependent on men, then men should be basically encouraged that every month they have to, yeah, either give some her pocket money instead of, yeah, okay, that she can buy, just like she gives something. So that type of arrangement can be done, and then definitely it can be reflected in the overall consumer experience at the macro level also. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing that. Shruti ma'am, you want to add to this?
No, I think he perfectly answered the question. And
No,
so,
no
yeah,
more
thanks.
addition.
And
Yeah, no
we
more
are already 20 minutes past our schedule.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So I think we can end the session here. There is, I see one more question coming, what is the adoption rate of menstrual cups among educated urban women?
We only had 7 respondents who said that we switched over from sanitary napkins to menstrual cups.
Yeah.
So it is low, but informal discussions after completion of our study, after data collection, we are finding that more and more younger generation is now inclined towards menstrual cups.
Yeah, and maybe in 2025, this must be a little bit more compared to when the survey was actually done. Because now, people are knowing more about the products. So definitely, the pick for menstrual cups would have rised in India as well, at least for the urban zones, if not for the rural. Thank you so much, authors. It has been such a wonderful special edition, added to our book lovers club, and I'm sure the book would go in more demand and more, buying of the book would come up. And we look forward to your more research and more, front bringing about all the data that you have been working with. Thank you, very much for the time that you have given, and the audience would utilize the book in the right way. Please ensure that you buy the book from Amazon, maybe a Kindle form or a hard copy. And if you would like to come in contact with Dr. Smruti Balsari, you can see that I have been flashing her email ID onto the screen. So please feel free to have a direct contact with her if you are looking for some collaboration, research, some guidance. She'll always be there to support you in your work. And we expect that once again maybe a version 2 or 3 would come up, and we have the authors coming on the floor with another book, blasting with all the reality check related to menstrual practices in India. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Smruti ma'am. Thank you, Pandya sir. Thank you, Anil sir. See you all soon in maybe some other episode, just like the way we had today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for giving us opportunity to present
Thank you,
our
sir.
research.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.